Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Hope you had a great weekend. Appreciate you for hanging with us, no matter if you're listening on the radio dial or on SWX Montana Television or on the ESPN MT app. We're also always streaming live on 1029ESPN.com and on YouTube and on Twitch, no matter how you're joining us. Thanks so much for being here. I'm back from Bozeman, went to the Montana State spring game, so now the football season that seems like it's never going to end is finally now over. Now we have really, with the exception of a couple interviews we're going to do coming out of the NFL draft, we really don't have a ton of football to talk about, just in terms of actual happenings, results-based stuff, right? We basically went from the national championship in mid-January through the NFL playoffs in mid-February, then into the coaching change at the University of Montana, and then the Grizz were just boom, like that 2 weeks later into spring ball, and then the Cats were into spring ball a couple weeks after that, and then the Grizz had the spring game, now the Cats had the spring game. The spring recruiting period is still whirling in full force for sure, but I just don't know how much results-based football we're going to get to talk here after this week at least for the next couple months. So we will put a bow on spring football. Montana State looked very good on Saturday. I leave the spring games from both the University of Montana and Montana State feeling incredibly optimistic, honestly, about the level of football I think is going to be played in the state of Montana. Some of that comes with a caveat. I mean, as I've expressed on this show many, many, many times, I do think the FCS is as a whole, much less deep pool right now, especially with North Dakota State on the way out. I think there's probably truly 4 teams that could win the national championship, and that's if you consider Illinois State as a team that could win the national championship. It's also, honestly, if you consider Montana a team that could win the championship. I don't know if the Grizz are quite national championship level next year, but I mean, if they were to actually compete for a national championship, I think you know who your head coach is moving forward. Certainly, I think you have to give Bobby Kennedy a shot if the Grizz are true contenders. But Montana State, after what I saw on Saturday, absolutely overwhelmingly the team to beat in the Big Sky, and I think probably in the FCS. South Dakota State should be very, very good, I think. South Dakota probably has a chance to step back. NDSU on their way up. North Dakota is a team I thought that was going to be good last year. They were good until all of a sudden they sort of fell apart. What does UND have? But I don't think there's a ton of contenders right now. So if you are the Grizz and the Cats, you certainly want to and need to be in that mix as teams that actually could win it. And certainly after what I saw on Saturday, Montana State is that sort of team. So we'll catch up, go through all the stuff we saw at the spring game. We will talk with Brent Vigen, the head coach for Montana State, Justin Lamson, senior quarterback. He had an outstanding day. That's one of the many juxtapositions that I saw between the Grizz and the Cats. Like the Grizz, Kaylee Ayat did not take a snap during the spring game, didn't even suit up. Eli Gilman suited up, but he got like one. I don't know if he actually did get a carry. He got between 0 and 1 carries, right? At Montana State, Justin Lamson played the vast majority of the spring game. He threw the ball 22 times. He was not quite live as a runner, but he was certainly off to the races several times. It was a pretty interesting and I think thorough display of pretty close to at least real football, which a lot of times in the spring game that's not what you get, but I thought you got it on both sides, at Montana and Montana State. Montana State was shorthanded in a lot of different spots, but it wasn't really on the number one offense. They played a ton of their primary guys from that number one offense. So we'll get into all that. We'll hear from Vigen. We'll hear from Lamson. We'll also hear from one of the standout players, not only of the spring game, but of spring, Parker Mady. He's a redshirt freshman, from University Place, Washington. That's right outside Seattle. Went to Curtis High School. And he's a guy that's gotten a lot of scuttle during this spring, and I thought he looked great. I think they got to find a spot on the field for him next year, at least in spot duty for sure. He was one of many young players I thought that really stood out. So we'll hear from him. We'll also hear from Dom Solano, who is expected to be one of the top defensive linemen in the league, and certainly a guy that if he could take the next step would be very impactful for MSU. He's a defensive end out of Phoenix, Arizona, Glendale to be specific. And, I mean, he's been right there, right? I mean, they basically rotate 4 defensive ends, and last year their main guys were Kenneth Iden and Hunter Parsons, who were both seniors, and Zach Cruz was sort of the next guy up. But Solano was that 4th guy, and he came on strong. He had a sack against the Grizz in Missoula. He also had a sack in the playoffs. So he played well down the stretch. If he could be good, that would be great for Montana State. So we'll hear from him as well. And we'll also hear from Caden Dowler. He's the newest number 41 for Montana State. That's their legacy number. We'll have a continued conversation about what legacy numbers mean. I know that there's a lot of people on the Grizz side of things that think the Cats are just being copycats when it comes to the legacy number. I mean, if I'm a Grizz fan, I totally understand that way of thinking. I also just think that like legacy numbers exist a lot of different places. Certainly the Grizz have had theirs this is the 40th anniversary of number 37 at the University of Montana. Craig Paulson first gave it, I think, following the 1986 season to Tim Houck, and the rest is history. They've had a whole bunch of number 37s at Montana. The Cats, this has only been going on, I mean, technically since like 2018, so less than a decade. But the guys that wore it prior to Grant Collins, who was one of the guys that is sort of credited with being an influential person in creating this tradition, before Grant Collins, it was Brad Daly. And I'm trying to remember who was before Daly, but I think a Montanan has worn 41 for 15 years. Regardless, if you think this one way and you think this is just pathetic copycat little brother and you're a Grizz, that's fine. You're totally justified to that opinion. I can totally see why you think that. Also, if you appreciate what the number 41 means at Montana State, I think that's also it's a nice homage to history, paying tribute to the 1941 team, paying tribute to Montana as the 41st state in the Union. Either way, it doesn't matter what you think of it. It exists. It's a big honor for the person that gets to wear number 41 at Montana State, and that guy is Caden Dowler now after he received the jersey on Friday. So kind of with Caden and Brent Vegan just about what it all means, what makes him number 41. Oh, by the way, the NFL draft was this weekend as well, so we'll go through some of that. The big news out of Montana, 3 now Grizzlies have received chances in the NFL. Michael Wortham signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That happened on Saturday, very soon after the draft, so I think that indicates that Wortham was pretty close to being drafted. Then on Sunday, you saw Kenzel Lawler accept an invite to the Chiefs rookie minicamp. I think that's coming up here next month. So he certainly at least gave himself a foot in the door. And then Liam Brown, this hit right before the show, so I haven't actually got the full-on details here. But Liam Brown's getting a shot at the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm still trying to confirm if that is a rookie minicamp invite or a training camp invite. We'll track that down here in just a little while. We'll also talk some NFL draft at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Top heavy as always. I mean, and I should say as always, it's more top heavy than usual. An FCS player was not drafted in the first 3 rounds for the first time in 47 years. So, first time since the late 70s. No FCS guys went in the top 3 rounds. A couple guys that started their careers in FCS did. So that is a brewing narrative that guys that start their career at the FCS level, they either need to or they just get to move up to the FBS to enhance their draft stock. It's really interesting, right? The first FCS guy drafted, he's a linebacker from Southeast Louisiana. You look at him, just picture-wise, body-wise, film-wise, you're like, well, that guy could have transferred to the FBS. If he would have transferred for the FBS, would it have gotten him to the 2nd round or the 3rd round? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that, right? Or like the guys that did transfer up to the FBS. How much did that improve their stock? Like Cam Scadaboo from Sac State a couple years ago, right? He played at Arizona State, went to the college football playoff, was a borderline Heisman finalist, etc. And he was a 3rd-round draft pick. I think he's probably a third-round draft pick, whether he's rushing for 1,000 yards at Arizona State or 1,000 yards at Sac State. I really think that. So I really don't know what to make of the narratives. All I know is that there's more Power 5 guys going in the draft than ever before, and I think it's getting harder for FCS guys to go. Now, that said, would you go, like, if you are a guy that's an NFL talent, I think they'll find you at the FCS. So then it begs the question, is is the reason that there's not as many good players, not as many guys getting drafted out of the FCS is because there's not as many good players coming to the FCS, period? Again, I don't know the answer to if you are a draftable player and you stay at Montana or you transfer to Nebraska. Like Samori Toure, who did exactly what I just said, I think he's a 7th-round draft pick no matter what. Like, I don't think that him going to Nebraska made him a draftable player. I think running a 4.4 on his pro day and having the body of work he had between Montana and Nebraska is what made him a draftable player. So I don't know. We'll hash that out a little bit more at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, but certainly 3 Grizz, no Bobcats, although Julius Davis did just receive a minicamp invite from the Denver Broncos. Rohan Jones, there's another example. Rohan Jones was on Montana State when they went to the championship game in 2024 when they lost to NDSU. He then transferred to Arkansas. He got a shot with the Los Angeles Rams over the weekend, and that is a true training camp invite. If you haven't been following along, here's the difference. So teams all across the NFL will have rookie mini camps in May. That is an invite of between 50 and 80 guys. None of these guys have contracts. It's literally an open tryout. And if you are good enough to then get invited to training camp, then all of a sudden you're going to sign a contract and you're going to be part of OTAs. That's off-season training activities. So you're going to the little 3-day mini camps, the little 3-day walkthroughs, whatever. You're expected to be in the playbook. You're expected to spend time in the facility. And then you roll around and training camp opens in August, and you are on the initial, I think it's 95 is what they bring to training camp now, but you still have to make the team. They're going to cut it from 95 to 53. So if you got a mini camp invite, you basically you're trying to get an invite to even get to training camp to make the team. So you're trying to beat out 50, 60, 70 other guys. I mean, to be clear here, there's been a ton of guys that we've covered in the Big Sky. They've got rookie training camp or rookie mini camp invites. I can only remember a couple that then got training camp invites. It's really hard to make it out of a rookie mini camp. But if you get a rookie mini camp invite, that's better than nothing. Like, it's better to go to the Denver Broncos rookie mini camp like Julius Davis from Montana State's about to do than it is to have your phone not ring whatsoever. So, something's better than nothing, but it's still a really hard way to go. So we'll have more NFL draft talk at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. If you're watching on SWX or on the ESPN MT app or on any of our streaming platforms like YouTube or Facebook, you see me holding this card. I do this to remind myself when we have new friends and new clients around here. I put the stuff in the studio. DBAT is a awesome baseball and softball academy that exists here in Missoula now. It's at 821 Burlington Avenue. Missoula loves baseball, loves softball, and at DBAT Missoula, the game never stops. They have indoor batting cages, offer year-round training, in addition to professional lessons, clinics, and camps for players of all ages. Adult softball players can get their swings in, too. It's perfect for teams, date nights, or just a fun time out with friends. So they have everything from a slow-pitch softball machine to a baseball machine that'll throw probably in the high 80s. I'm actually not sure. I'll check with how fast it can throw, but certainly super competitive speeds. It's also a great place for birthday parties. Before you buy any of your baseball or softball gear anywhere, go check out DBAT. They have a fully stocked pro shop. Rain, snow, smoke, or wind, the swings never stop. Learn more at dbatmissoula.com. This card is a card for 25 free swings at DBAT. So all you have to do is text us. You want to go get some cuts in at the cages? 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Appreciate DBAT for jumping on board. We will have our normal spring-summer segment starting probably, what's this? This is the last week of April. Probably next week, the first full week of May. We'll dive into some Diamond Time. Myself, Jeff Safford, will rap about baseball, just Major League Baseball storylines, the Paddleheads, the Pioneer League, high school baseball, Legion baseball, softball, whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we'll get to, and looking forward to that. DBAT will be one of our official sponsors of our Diamond Time conversation, so looking forward to that here starting next week. Speaking of softball, Grizz softball is actually a tough weekend for Grizz sports. Grizz softball hosted this pivotal 3-game series in Missoula over the weekend. They got beat in the first game against Idaho State, and then they won the second game. This was on Saturday. So they split the doubleheader Saturday, which means they're coming into Sunday with basically a win and you're the champions, a lose and you get fourth place scenario. So a ton on the line for a super young Grizz team. Oh, by the way, sorry, I said that backwards. Grizz won the opening game of the doubleheader 7-6 and then lost 6-0 to split it. But then on Sunday, they got kind of pounded, honestly. They lost 8-2. So Idaho State is your Big Sky champs. The Grizz sort of limp into the conference tournament. They play Weber State starting on Monday. That's Monday from today, a week from today, Monday, May 4th. So sort of a brick wall that the Grizz softball team hit. You know, just for pure selfish reasons. Like I always say, I never got a sort of a dog in the hunt when it comes to rooting interests, but I do root for things that would be great for the state and for the community. I mean, we broadcast here from the ESPN MT studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. So we are in Missoula, and if the Grizz would have won, they would have had the opportunity to host the softball tournament next year, the Big Sky Championship tournament, which would be awesome. Like that, I mean, I just think people in Missoula would go turn out for that. I think that they would find that to be very fun. So bummer for them. Also, the Grizz tennis team, they got bounced. The men's tennis team, they got bounced at the Big Sky tournament in the semifinals. That was an abrupt ending to their season. So sort of tough for those two sports because we sort of hyped up those two sort of finales, and both those teams fall short. But, I mean, can't win them all, and great seasons by both of them. And certainly, I mean, the Lady Grizz, the softball team is much improved. So the fact that they were even in that scenario in year two under Steph Ewing, I think that's a big step forward, certainly. One bright spot of news for the Grizz athletic department, Erin Wild. How about her career? She's been so dominant in the high jump. I mean, I think you can safely say she's the greatest high jumper in the history of the University of Montana. If it wasn't for Lucy Corbin at Montana State, who was a recent incredible high jumper, I think you'd probably say Wild's the best ever in the state, and also from Montana. Corbin went about an inch higher than Wild ever has, and Corbin's from Montana too. She's from Bozeman. So the fact that you had two of the greatest high jumpers in the history of the state sort of competing, not right simultaneously, but pretty similar timelines, that's definitely pretty darn impressive. How about these for statistics? Erin Wild won the Montana Open high jump. That means she's won all 8 times in the high jump during her outdoor career for meets that have been in Missoula. The Grizz usually only host twice for outdoor season. She's won high jump every single one of those times, all 8 of them. That's pretty amazing. She's competed in 49 overall meets in her Grizzly career. She's won the high jump 27 times. So she's winning at more than 50% of the time. Her victory Saturday, her 13th outdoor career victory, and that includes winning the Big Sky Conference Outdoor Championship 3 years in a row. So she's gunning for a four-peat. She's currently 10th in the NCAA West Regional with a 6-foot jump. And she's the favorite to win the Big Sky high jump title once again. Whitefish's Erin Wild, certainly one of the best athletes going right now in the state of Montana. Well, it's now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Okay, back to the Bobcat spring game. I went over on Saturday morning. When I first left, I was getting all these pictures from Bozeman that it was dumping snow. My drive was full of flurries, and it was not very, very pleasant. But then when I got there, it was cold. It was like in the high 30s, low 40s. Windy a little bit, but it was a beautiful sunshiny day and no snow. So that worked out. You knew they were going to go rain or shine, but certainly to have it be shine just makes the football better. It makes it easier to evaluate. And I thought that probably the things that stood out to me the most about the day, one, it started with the national championship ring presentation. So they all got their rings. And then it was very clear that head coach Brent Vigen and most of the leaders on the Bobcat team that they wanted to sort of turn the page. Like, they wanted that to be the final thing about 2025 in the national championship, and they wanted to basically say, okay, here it is. It's 26, new season. We got a lot to improve on. Let's roll. That was certainly the clear sort of narrative on the sideline and post game too, which you'll hear some of that. Pretty clear. You heard from Justin Lamson last week, and it's pretty clear these guys want to turn the page. I thought the offense looked really sharp for Montana State. I think part of that is because their top offensive line. So the teams are divided up into a gold and a white team. And a lot of times these are like mishmashed. You'll have some guys that are 1, some guys that are 2, some guys that are 3, smattered amongst the roster. This was basically the gold team was the number 1 offense versus the white team, which had basically the number 1 defense. So it was good versus good. I thought the gold team had a pretty good edge because I thought they were just much more healthy. Like, if you were to name the starting offensive line, like what you'd project it at coming into this year, I think you'd say Braden Zimmer, left tackle, he's a returner. It was a freshman All-American. Burke Mastel, who's an all-conference guy at left guard. Titan Fleischman at right tackle. He was an All-American last year at guard. And then I think that the other 3 spots were the ones that were really the battles. Well, the fact that Aiden Kaplan seems to have solidified himself as the center, that then gives you some versatility because now you have one battle basically. That's for the right guard spot, and it's basically between Everett Carr and Dylan Rollins. So those 6 guys were basically your top offensive line. Justin Lamson, who's a returning all-conference player at quarterback, he was the primary and almost exclusive quarterback for the gold team. And then you had other pretty proven guys like Jared White and Colson Kuhn at running back, Dane Steele, Jabez Woods at receiver, plus the smattering of a whole bunch of other guys I think should contribute this next year. Jordan Reed, who's a converted quarterback, but 6'6", give you a huge target on the outside. Parker Mady and Carter Dalkey are 2 freshmen. I think you have to get on the field more on those guys in just a little while. And they also had Rocky Lencioni, who's a returning starter at tight end, but also Carter Kurnow, who is a guy that has really made waves here out of Dillon, Montana so far this spring for the Cats. So that gives you, I mean, the only guys missing, right? Adam Jones suited and played. He got a couple touches, but he did not get a ton of touches. Taco Dowler suited and played, but he hardly got any touches. Those 2 are like the 2, though, that are expected to be primary sort of all-star level playmaking guys that didn't get a ton of reps. But other than that, it was basically the top offense for the gold team. So no surprise then that they were super efficient. They marched up and down the field, and they scored on their first 4 possessions. The defense was also shorthanded. Taden Gray, who's expected to be a starting nickelback. Bryant Meredith, who was a starter at free safety last year. Neil Daly, who's a starter at linebacker when he's healthy. J.J. Dolan, who was a starter at free safety last year for a time as well. Zach Cruz, who's expected to be a starter at defensive end. Caden Dowler, who is the starting strong safety and the Big Sky Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And Talon Marsh, who's expected to be a starter on the interior of the defensive line. They were all out. So, I mean, that's basically all your main safeties. And there was some young guys that played well. We'll talk about them here in just a minute. But basically your frontline safeties, your best or second best defensive tackle, your best or second best defensive end, one of your 2 of your 4 best linebackers, your best nickel. Corey Boyd's expected to be a guy that contributes at corner as well. He was out. That's a lot of guys to be out for the defensive side of the ball. So you'd hope the offense looked good, and that certainly was the case. Here's Brent Vegan following his team's scrimmage.
Well, the day worked out for us. I know waking up to the snow, we figured out we could play football. We figured we'd play football one way or the other, but it really turned out to be a very nice day. It was, beyond the obvious, great to recognize the 25 team and get our rings out. Getting that turnaround so today could be part celebration, but certainly part spring game was the intent back in January. So I appreciate Justin Jessup, our equipment guy, for leading that up. There's a lot of young guys that I think after 15 practices are in a different place. There's certainly risk involved with maybe our approach in the spring, but there's also risk involved with not going after and really allowing guys to compete and develop. So, it's good to be here on the other side, seeing and witnessing that development, but also understanding that we have a ways to go. I thought in particular the last couple scrimmages, Justin really performed well. When he performs well, it's probably going to look a little bit like today where, there's a different efficiency about that first offense than maybe any other unit. So excited about that. And I know defensively, missing pieces is kind of where we're at. But I know, those pieces that are out there, a couple of some of the guys will come back. I think we feel good about, the defense, moving forward. And then special teams wise, I know we didn't do the complete thing, but excited to have, all those guys back heading into next year. So.
Brad Vegan here on 129 ESPN Radio. When it comes to the offensive execution, when you have a returning senior starter at quarterback, and that guy's going on 6 years of college football, like Justin Lamson is, if that guy plays the whole spring game, it's against a defense that's shorthanded, you hope that he's going to dice them. But he did. He looked great. He was 19 of 22 for 192 yards, threw 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for seven times for 43 yards and a score. Obviously, a caveat there. He's not wearing a red jersey, but it's a very clear mandate that he is a non-contact guy. But Dom Solano got two sacks. One was a true touch sack. One, he actually knocked Lamson on the ground. It kind of made him mad. And that was, the coaches were certainly telling Solano to reel it in a little bit, but also probably secretly loving it. You obviously don't want to hit your star quarterback, but, that aggressiveness was certainly shining through. But Lamson looked great. I thought actually all 3 of the quarterbacks that got substantial time looked great. Pat Duchesne from Florence is out. He did not participate this spring. He's expected to be the number 2 when fall camp starts. But I think he's going to get pushed heavily by River Warren, who went 11 of 15 for 62 yards and a touchdown, and by Grant Vegan, who went 8 of 12 for 98 yards. Probably would have had a touchdown if it wasn't for a touch sack that got called dead. It was actually by his brother, Jake Vegan. They are the 2 sons that play for the Cats of the head coach in Brent Vegan. But I thought a whole bunch of guys stood out offensively. I thought Dane Steele in limited time looked good. He caught a really, really sweet touchdown. I thought Carter Kernow looked great. He had a 40-yard catch that resulted in a touchdown. He's a tight end out of Dillon. Jared White is a guy that's been sort of overlooked. He was one of the main guys at running back. And then Adam Jones happened and Julius Davis happened, and those 2 guys sort of stole all the air out of the running backs room, and they were like the 1-2 combo of in the entire country last year. They both carried it about 175 times. Both rushed for over 1,000 yards. So when that's your 1A and your 1B, it's basically like having a 350 carry back who rushes for about 2,300 yards. Pretty dang good production out of the running back spot. But it was just like 2 guys, right? And White has been around, and now here he is. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards in his Bobcat career, even though he's never been the guy. And I don't know if he's not going to be the guy. Jones is going to be the guy this year. But White could be the number 2. Him and Colson Kuhn, that's a good battle for that number 2 spot. So, it's a cool story if he gets it done. But I thought he looked good. He had 16 carries for 68 yards. He was mostly operating behind that top offensive line, which I think that was the biggest advantage in the game, was that offensive line versus the defensive front. Solano certainly played pretty well. I thought Zach Black showed some decent reps. But mostly it was, the Gold team's offensive line was moving the ball, moving the line of scrimmage. They were pretty tough to stop. Brett Vegan talked about the offensive execution following the Sunny Holland Spring Classic.
How much trust do you have to have in your team and your quarterback to let him play the entire spring game and not quite live, but how much do you think these reps can help him?
Oh, the reps that Justin's got this spring are invaluable. He didn't have spring last year. He had fall camp, but he was in a little bit different mode. Coach Sturbick working with him was a different mode. So, allowing him to go through spring, and himself hopefully take it to a higher level is what we've, what our approach was going to be. And, the guys have to be able to rush, and he's got to be able to evade that. But I think our guys understand how we want to practice, and, I think it was really good work for Justin.
What do you think? First 2 drives for the Gold was really efficient. What do you think led to that efficiency, and how locked in do you think Justin and the offense was?
Yeah, it was a combination of efficient runs, kind of methodical on the run side, and then, completion percentage-wise, I would think that was at a pretty high rate, and I think we have the ability to be that. We have the ability to be a big play outfit as well, but, being able to lean on a level of efficiency and consistency is what ultimately is the most important thing. And, Justin, again, is he's a key piece to that, knowing where to go, knowing getting the ball out of his hand quickly, and, then guys on the other end that can catch it.
The last drive by Grant and the white team offense, what do you think that gives them just in terms of confidence going into this offseason?
Yeah, I think that group of second team guys, I think, is really sometimes it's just the pieces. It's not the whole group. They're not as finely tuned as the one group, but when you can see some of those guys go out and make plays, I know just getting another score on the board, I hope allowed them to feel better about the day, because they were down significantly in just plays in the first half beyond the scoreboard. So it was good to see them get on board.
Brett Vegan here on Nuanez Now. The Bobcat quarterback Justin Lamson, he addressed the media for 6 minutes on after the spring game, but of course they were playing music at an unholy level. Vegan, you could hear the music, but we were able to dim it a little bit. Lamson, it was just like overwhelming. He could hardly even hear our questions. We should have just waited, but I don't know. Sometimes this stuff is completely outside of our control. So here's about 90 seconds of Justin Lamson. If you want to hear the whole thing, you can check it out on the Skyline Sports YouTube channel, but it's kind of tough to listen to. So here is the most listenable part of Justin Lamson's addressing the media following the Bobcat spring game.
Spring game you played in out here, how did you feel like it went for you?
Good. I wish we scored on those last 2 drives, but I definitely think, at least my side, thought we were moving the ball well. There wasn't many MAs, and obviously missing a lot of guys. So, it was good. I think that's a good cap to spring ball. We wanted to be clean on this last day, and I think we were pretty clean, so it was good.
The way you guys did move the ball, how much of a testament is that to the offensive line?
Good. I mean, those dudes, I think a lot of those drives were really long drives, like 15, 16 play drives, and we're going tempo. But those dudes were just thugging through it and, making it easy for us and the running backs. So it's a special group, and Coach Smith is a special coach. So I'm really happy to be behind those guys.
Jared White's a guy that's kind of had to wait his turn, but he was great today. What can you just say about him and his operation?
Yeah, I just think him and Colson Kuhn, just those 2 guys have just really stepped up this spring. Everybody, obviously we're losing Julius. We got Adam. Everyone who knows who Adam is, but those 2 dudes, 1-2 punch, when Adam gets tired. So I don't know, I'm expecting a lot from those 2 guys, and I think their work ethic has really paid off. So I'm just happy to be out there with them.
Coach Vegan said that he's seen you grow on the field and as a leader throughout the spring. Is that something that you've tried to work on a little bit?
Yeah, I've really tried to be a good leader, but still got a lot of ways to go. I think sometimes my emotions get the best of me, but I'm just trying to keep that and direct it towards the right way. So, yeah, I'm happy he said that, but I just hope my teammates feel like I'm a leader, and just trying to be the best teammate I can be every day.
Fascinating the level of perfectionism that guy expects from himself. There was a snap on Saturday where the music was distracting. A lot of times on Saturday, let's just say that. But there was a time when the music was still going right when he was trying to snap the ball. And it was just like on an outside zone run play. But you could tell it still was flustering him. And he turned around and yelled at whoever was listening to him, said, "Hey, we got to get that music out before we snap the ball." And then it was better after that. But it's just funny the level of perfectionism he has operating. But yeah, just throughout. And if he gets better leadership skills, I think that's just nothing but a plus for Montana State. Well, it's now 129 ESPN Radio. We'll keep on talking Bobcat spring ball, plus some of the other results from around the state of Montana from over the weekend. That's next. Keep it right here, 129 ESPN Radio.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
A pair of former Grizz football players will get shots to prove themselves in the NFL. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana All-American Michael Wortham signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars shortly after the NFL draft ended on Saturday afternoon. His undrafted free agent deal will bring him to Jacksonville to compete for a spot on the 53-man roster. During his one season at UM, Wortham was a star, earning All-American honors as an all-purpose player and being named a Walter Payton Award finalist. He also broke Mark Mariani's single-season program record with 2,431 all-purpose yards. Former Montana cornerback Kenzel Lawler also received a rookie minicamp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs Saturday. He'll head to a team looking to bounce back from a 6-11 season after a 6-year stretch that saw the Chiefs play in 5 Super Bowls and win 3. Lawler will need to earn a training camp invite during the minicamp this weekend. During his 2 seasons in Missoula, Lawler was a standout who led the Big Sky Conference in pass breakups his senior year with 15. Lawler had a standout pro day that included jumping 39.5 inches in the vertical and running in the 4.4 second range in the 40-yard dash to earn the shot. Helena High alum and former Montana Tech ore digger Keyshawn James Newby was drafted in the 7th round of Saturday's NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. The 6'2", 244-pounder transferred from Montana Tech to Idaho and then transferred to New Mexico when Jason Eck became the head coach for the Lobos. James Newby spent his final 3 high school seasons playing for the Bengals in the capital city.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
1, 2, 3.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome to that ESPN Radio, SWX by TED Television, and the ESPN MT app. Also coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I'm Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for any of your construction projects. They got them in stock. They can get them to you right away. Don't wait days or even weeks. Call Grizzly Disposal. We'll have them to you within 24 hours. 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Got to watch the Grizz spring game, I guess 3 Fridays ago now. And then a couple weeks later, this last Saturday, got to watch the Bobcats in action for the first time this spring. Thought they looked really sharp, especially on offense. I think that comes with the 2 caveats. One, when you play a senior starting quarterback for the duration of the spring game, I hope he probably looks good, especially when the defense is missing 6 or 7 starters. That said, I thought the defense showed some flashes for sure, but I thought the biggest advantage that the gold team offense had against the white team in general was the prowess of the offensive line. Basically, the offensive line was flush. Not just the top 5 guys, but probably the top 8 guys were all there. The starting unit included Braden Zimmer at left tackle, Burke Mastel at left guard. By the way, thank you for the pronunciation correction, Mr. Mastel. Appreciate it. We're in the business of getting those right. So I've been called Nuanez my whole life, and it's not Nuanez, it's Nuanez. Just like it's not Mastel, it's Mastel. So we appreciate the pronunciation correction. He's playing left guard. Aiden Kaplan was playing at center. Everett Carr was the majority guy at right guard, but he also was rotating a little bit with Dylan Rollins. and then Titan Fleischman was at right tackle. So that's a pretty formidable unit, regardless of which right guard you go with. I think you have, honestly, as many as 5 all-conference caliber type of guys, but 3 probably. At least 2 and maybe 3 All-American caliber guys. I think Mastel is a guy that is an all-conference caliber guy right now, and if he takes one more step, he could be like borderline to true All-American type of guy. Zimmer was an All-American last year as a freshman. He's a freshman All-American, but he's one of the best young offensive linemen in college football right now. And Fleischman, I think, is one of the best players in the conference and probably one of the best players in the country. I think he's a real deal NFL guy, and he's been an All-American already. So I think that he's truly an All-American guy as well. So when you got that quality of guys headlining it, and if things go right for Kaplan or Carr or Rollins or all 3, they all could be all-conference guys by the time it's all said and done. When that's going against a defensive line that graduates 4 seniors, plus they're down Zach Cruz and Talon Marsh, who are expected to be 2 of their other top 3 guys, that's a huge advantage, certainly. And I think that the offensive line leaned on the defensive line a little bit, but Dom Solano on the defensive front was able to whittle away a little bit. Here's Brett Vegan on the exchange between the lines. Then we'll hear from Dom Solano on how the defense did find its footing towards the end of the Bobcat spring game and actually made some waves and made some plays.
Of the battle up front, especially the gold offensive line versus the white D line.
Yeah, I thought, I'd say maybe an edge to the O-line, but I did think we did a better job of containing the run today and then rushing the passer. Whereas last week there was a few more runs that maybe popped just in general. So that's initial impression. I think O-line wise, we're probably more put together right now with who is out there than D-line, and that's maybe reflected. Tight on the rotation piece today because both squads were being filled. That's a little bit different than how we typically play D-line. But no, I think it was a decent back and forth today.
What sort of progress have you seen out of Aiden Kaplan that's let him sort of be that guy at center so far?
Yeah, I think real consistent this spring. Consistent for snapping the football. I think consistent in his approach, his communication. And then he's gotten, I think, better with pad level. And he's not the tallest guy, but he had a tendency to want to play high and probably get tire faster. So I think just mental toughness and confidence-wise would underscore his improvement more than anything. So I think that was obviously a big shoes to fill with JT, and Aiden's done a really good job, at least of making that initial progress that makes you feel like, okay, there's a pretty good shot that Aiden would be snapping the ball for us in the fall.
The Gold offense, which was basically the first team offense, scored on its first 4 possessions on Saturday. Lamson, again, looked really sharp. The run game looked good. Jared White, Colson Kuhn, both were getting big yards. Quarterbacks were efficient. Tight ends were involved in the pass game. A bunch of the little slots, even though Taco Dowler was out, like Jabez Woods, Dane Steele, Parker Mady, they all flashed offensively. So certainly a lot to look at there if you're the Bobcats. But then the defense actually did seem to settle in a little bit. And Dom Solano really got going. He had 3 touch sacks. He looked like a beast off the edge. He looks bigger. He's about 6'4", 250 pounds now. So he's got a real deal, DN frame. He came on really strong towards the end of last year. And I thought that that was a good sign for the future, like a premonition of things to come for Solano. And they knew they were going to need him to be a big player this year, and he looks like he can be. So he talked a little bit about the defense sort of finding its footing on Saturday afternoon at Bozeman.
How did you just feel like it went for you individually today, and then as a defense overall?
Personally, I felt I started a little slow, and I got to figure out how to get out of that slump of get my body warm, and maybe that's just changing my pregame routine a little bit, adjusting. But as a defense, I thought we played good overall. There's little holes there and then and there, but we're playing good offense, and you're going to get beat sometimes. It's what good on good is. So honestly, I think everybody stepped up, and at the end of the day, I'm proud of our defense.
How do you feel like you've evolved since this time last season, or since the end of last season?
I think I've gotten a little bit slimmer. Took a little bit off. I think my technique has gotten a lot better, and I've understood that not everything needs to be me. I just need to do my job so that I can help the other guys, and vice versa. If they do their job, then we're all making plays, and that's what the defense is supposed to be.
Going against guys like Zimmer and Fleischman all spring ball, how much does that help you improve?
A lot, actually. So with Zimmer now, I know how to go against somebody with one arm and somebody that has a club. When they hit you, it hurts. So that's good. And Zim and Titan are both athletic and have great punches. So going against good tackles helps me. So when we get to games, I'm not stressed out about some tackle that has all these accolades.
Gold team was rolling early, but then you guys seem to have settled in. So what improved for you guys defensively?
Honestly, I don't want to say momentum because that's not something you should lean towards, but I want to say momentum. Once we got that first 3 and out and we fully stopped them, then, the sky's the limits from there. And obviously we're getting 3s and outs after that. So we just got to find a way as a team and individually, myself, to start early and not catch up towards the end.
How excited are you guys as a D-line to have this opportunity now with some of the guys that you guys lost from last season to kind of step up?
Stoked, so stoked. Like, we've had a couple of guys with injuries here and there, and when they come back, it's smiles on everybody's faces. Like when Zach Cruz first came back, smiles on all our faces. He got his first sack back in spring ball, and it was just awesome. It's a great feeling just to be with these guys and watch them grow. Like all of them are growing at a fast rate, and myself included, I'm not something to that, so I just got to continue growing.
How special was the full circle moment to get your championship ring and celebrate with the home crowd?
That was awesome. I didn't know how I felt about it personally. I was like, we're warming up and then getting cold and then warming up. So that part was a little weird. But at the end of the day, celebrating with, seeing the old guys come back, it's good memories. So it brings all that back and it's nostalgic. And then now you're ready to play football. Like nobody can ask for anything better.
Anything in particular that you did to get those 2 sacks?
Honestly, rush, just run. Like people say D-line's a thankless job. I don't think it's as thankless as people make it sound, but at the end of the day, you got to get going. Like, run, and go through somebody. Like, that's what we're made to do. We're not made to look all sexy and stuff. We're made to be violent, so I think that's what it was.
I think you guys got good yourself, Zach, and Seth Strong kind of off the defense. Kind of maybe one more spot in that rotation. I saw playing down, you got a safety, I think he got held, and Egan got a sack himself, too, so how are those guys?
Honestly, our room's pretty stacked right now. Like, at the end of the day, if you ask me, I can name good things about every single one of them. Everybody's got their flaws, and that's growing up as a football player, and me included. But at the end of the day, if they have to go in, I'm not thinking, oh, no. I'm thinking, hell yeah, like, I'm ready to support you. Let's get going. Like, get to the quarterback. Like, it's a party. So.
How's the spring camp? Getting the rings. Caden getting the 41 yesterday. How's the spring camp felt kind of from a celebratory standpoint, post-title?
I honestly feel like it's not that celebratory. Like, at the end of the day, this team hasn't done anything. Yeah, we can, think about the older guys and be like, we're glad that we did this for you and stuff like that and seeing them coming back, but we haven't done anything, so there's really not too much to celebrate except your own success, which is something we have to continue to go.
How'd you see yourself grow the most in this spring ball?
Well, I've been asked to grow as a leader because we've lost 4 big key roles in our team and our D-line. So grow as a leader, trying to get these young guys right, making sure they're in the right spots, teaching them. And, if you can teach it, you can play it. And that's what I personally believe. So that and just overall technique and body comp, that's something that's big for me. I've had injuries coming up, so fixing my body and getting everything right. So I'm firing at 100% is probably the answer.
What does the off-season look like for you?
Off-season? Eating. It looks like eating and staying and keeping it to where, it doesn't look like I was eating. That's probably the biggest goal right there. And then keeping conditioning. That's a big part that I don't want to lose. I want to take a lot of reps. And if I can't do that, then because I'm unconditioned, that's my fault. Nobody else's. So that's something I want, something I'm asking for. So I got to keep myself conditioned.
Team-wise, real quick, you mentioned you guys haven't done anything as this team yet, but going forward now, what do you guys need to do to prepare for next season, to do something next season?
Honestly, worry about yourself. I think is the biggest thing. Like, you don't need to be worried about the guy next to you is doing. You don't need to be worried if he's trying to beat you. Everybody's trying to beat somebody. Like, at the end of the day, that 11 is the reason they did what they needed to become that 11. So just worry about yourself, do what you need to do, and have fun doing it. Because if you don't have fun, how you gonna keep going? How you gonna smile?
Dom Salato here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Montana Football Hour rolls on, recapping the Bobcat spring game. We'll keep on doing so on the other side. Oh, excuse me, one more clip to get in here. Speaking of the defense, I know that the D-line is a huge storyline, graduating 4 seniors, and also having Talon Marsh and Zach Cruz out for the spring game. I'm told that they're fine. They're going to be back by June for the beginning of training, and not expected to have any lingering effects from whatever might ail them currently. When you look at the linebackers, the Cats play 4-2-5, so they play 2 inside linebackers at the same time. Bryce Grebe had a great junior year last year. Neil Daly was supposed to be the man, but he got hurt at Oregon, which then allowed Cole Taylor to step up and be a second-team all-conference type of player. Xavier Aarons might be the most talented out of all those guys. Grebe and Daly were out, and you didn't notice it at all. Taylor looked great. Aaron's looked even better. I'm not saying Aaron's is better than Taylor, but Aaron's as a quick trigger. He's downhill. He's a sure tackler. He's a freak. I thought he was one of the most obvious players that popped to me right away. And they're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field. Here's Brett Vegan on one of his up-and-coming sophomore linebackers.
Xavier Aaron's had 2 or 3 plays right in the backfield. What sort of progress have you seen out of him this spring?
He's made real good progress. X was a guy that made an impact last year. Got hurt in the early part of the playoffs. I think it was the Yale game, and then came back and played in the championship game. And we see him as a guy that's going to be a key player. Our ability to potentially play 4 linebackers is where we're at right now, and it maybe didn't happen all at once last year where they were all healthy. I think there was games where they all played, but I think the thought of that group of 4 guys, when we put Neil and Cole and Bryce and X out there, that's a pretty formidable group.
Brett Vegan here on Nuanez Now. Take a break, come back, and give you some more standouts in the Bobcat Spring Game. That's next. Keep it right here. ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
definitely one of the highlights of my 2025. Went to see the Eagles down at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Took my mom. My wife brought her father. It was awesome. It was an unbelievable time. I mean, great performance, unbelievable venue. Certainly one to remember. Most of the time I curate a playlist for you. Sometimes I just forget. More often lately, I should say, I've been forgetting. But good news for you guys is Hayden plays awesome music. And he's doing it again today. Appreciate it. You'll be hearing from Hayden and Jeff Saffer a little later on this week. We'll have our latest hockey update. Also probably give you some lacrosse action as well. Lacrosse teams headed to nationals. Have not gotten the full update on what went down over the weekend. I was actually with Tucker Sargent, the head coach of the Grizzly lacrosse team, last Thursday. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Tuck. Big 4-0, so he made it. And then they were going to get on the bus the next day to go to Tacoma for the PNCLL conference tournament. So I have not gotten the update on I know what happened, but I haven't gotten the full details. So I'm sure that'll happen during our morning meeting here at Missoula Broadcasting Company tomorrow. But we'll have some hockey talk for you, some lacrosse talk for you, also some NFL draft talk for you. Michael Wortham is going to join us tomorrow. He is a former Grizz now who is headed to Jacksonville to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So looking forward to that. Also, Efforting Kenzel Lawler, who got a minicamp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, there actually is a guy from Montana who got drafted. He just took a completely meandering road to get there. Keyshawn James Newby grew up in Idaho, then played high school football at Helena High in the capital city. Out of high school, went to Montana Tech, was a standout as a freshman, decided to bet on himself, transferred to Idaho, was a first-team all-conference player there for the Vandals. Then when Jason Eck took the New Mexico job, he went with Eck to Albuquerque. Again, he was an all-Mountain West player there, and he was a seventh-round draft pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. So pretty cool story for a kid out of Helena to have that sort of credentials and get that sort of opportunity. Pretty sweet. I know we're up against it, so Hayden, let's move these sound bites from Parker Mady and Brent Vegan to the second hour. We'll keep on talking Bobcat football, some of the standouts. We'll also talk some NFL draft. Where are all the players from the Big Sky Conference going? Why does it seem like there's less FCS players that are on their way to the NFL? And what else maybe do we have planned for you in terms of potential guests? That's all coming your way in hour number 2. Hour 1 in the books. A fun Montana football hour talking all things Bobcat spring ball. We'll have more spring football talk and more NFL draft talk on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 129 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
A pair of former Grizz football players will get shots to prove themselves in the NFL. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana All-American Michael Wortham signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars shortly after the NFL draft ended on Saturday afternoon. His undrafted free agent deal will bring him to Jacksonville to compete for a spot on the 53-man roster. During his one season at UM, Wortham was a star, earning All-American honors as an all-purpose player and being named a Walter Payton Award finalist. He also broke Mark Mariani's single-season program record with 2,431 all-purpose yards. Former Montana cornerback Kenzel Lawler also received a rookie minicamp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs Saturday. He'll head to a team looking to bounce back from a 6-11 season after a 6-year stretch that saw the Chiefs play in 5 Super Bowls and win 3. Lawler will need to earn a training camp invite during the minicamp this weekend. During his 2 seasons in Missoula, Lawler was a standout who led the Big Sky Conference in pass breakups his senior year with 15. Lawler had a standout pro day that included jumping 39.5 inches in the vertical and running in the 4.4 second range in the 40-yard dash to earn the shot. Helena High alum and former Montana Tech ore digger Keyshawn James Newby was drafted in the 7th round of Saturday's NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. The 6'2", 244-pounder transferred from Montana Tech to Idaho and then transferred to New Mexico when Jason Eck became the head coach for the Lobos. James Newby spent his final 3 high school seasons playing for the Bengals in the capital city.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has one bin recycling for you. They can pick it up at your house twice a month. That's your cardboards, your tin cans, your aluminum cans. Let Grizzly Disposal take care of it for you. Want to add the service or make the switch or both? Call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171, or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. The NFL draft played out over the weekend. No Cats or Grizz got their names called, but a couple opportunities for guys from the University of Montana. Michael Wortham signs an undrafted free agent deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He and I have a conversation tomorrow afternoon, so we'll play that for you tomorrow evening on the show. Liam Brown is headed to Cincinnati. He signed an undrafted free agent deal with the Bengals. And Kenzel Lawler gets a rookie minicamp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs. That rookie minicamp starts on Friday. So we'll quickly know what Lawler's fate might be. On the Bobcat side of things, there was only 5 guys that participated in the pro day. And Julius Davis was, I mean, no offense to those other guys, the only guy that really had an realistic chance at making it, and he did not run a good 40. He ran 4.75 in the 40, so that certainly held him back. But he was very strong in the bench press. He looked good in the other parts of the pro day. So Davis, he's getting an opportunity, though, to go to the Denver Broncos. He is going to go to rookie minicamp with Denver. Another former Bobcat, though, that got a shot is Rohan Jones. He was a tight end on the 2024 Cat team. Then he transferred to Arkansas, and now he's getting a shot with the Los Angeles Rams. Very few FCS guys drafted. Cole Payton from North Dakota State and Bryce Lance from North Dakota State. Lance went in the 4th round to the Saints, and Payton went in the 5th round to the Philadelphia Eagles. So those are two of just a few guys who did get drafted. I think that the low-hanging fruit narrative that says, by the way, here's your 4 players that were drafted out of the FCS. Caleb Proctor was the first guy drafted. He's a defensive tackle out of southeastern Louisiana. He went to the Cardinals in the 4th round. Bryce Lance went later on in the 4th round to the New Orleans Saints. Charles Deming, the cornerback out of Stephen F. Austin, he went in the 5th round to the Minnesota Vikings, and then Cole Payton went in the 5th round, the quarterback from NDSU, to the Philadelphia Eagles. When you're looking back at FCS players drafted, 4 is the least number since 2021. That's when 5 were drafted. 2015 saw just 1. That's the lowest ever. But if you're looking over the last 15 or 16 years, 2010 you had 19, 2011, 21 players were drafted. In 2012, 15. Then you go 19, 19, 1. That's 2015. That's an anomaly. The following year, though, 20, 15, 19, 13. The pandemic years were hard on the FCS. 6 in 2020, 5 in 2021. But then back to a more normal number, 20 in 2022. 10 players from the FCS drafted in 2023. 11 in 2024. 8 last year. 4 this year. Again, I think the low-hanging fruit that people want you to believe is that all the best players in the FCS are just transferring up first, so they're not getting drafted or signed. But there was not that many guys that were in that scenario. There was a few, but mostly the guys that are getting drafted are guys that just are at Power Fours, and they either start their careers at Group of Fives and then transfer up to the Power Fours, or they start their careers at Power Fours. I think recruiting has become unbelievably sophisticated with social media and Huddle and Twitter and the internet and all that sort of stuff. So I think that I don't know if it's as simple as the best talent in the FCS is just transferring to the FBS. I think it's actually that the talent in the FCS just isn't as good. And a huge part of that is because a lot of the programs that churn out the most FCS talent aren't in the FCS anymore. I mean, think about that. 2 of the 4 guys that got drafted this year out of the FCS are from North Dakota State. Guess what? Next year, North Dakota State will have guys drafted. Guess what they're not getting drafted out of anymore? The FCS. North Dakota State's in the FBS now. That's half your drafted guys this year. It's been a minute since a guy from Montana's gotten drafted. The Cats have had a couple guys. Tommy Mellott most recently, but also Troy Anderson, Daniel Hardy. But I think that the fact of the matter is, first of all, you don't really have to draft guys from the FCS now because there's such large rosters that go to training camp. You only need to draft guys that you think other teams are going to have to go after as well. And certainly a guy like Michael Wortham, for example, who signed it right after the draft, I think that indicates that there's probably a couple teams that were interested in him. But do you really need to draft Wortham? Or can you just battle it out with 1 or 2 other teams in the undrafted market and just sign him? I don't know. I guess I just want to say that I don't think it's as simple as the best players from the FCS are just transferring now. Because I actually think that a lot of the best players in the FCS this last year didn't transfer. I mean, look at all the guys for the Cats. They won the national championship, and they had multiple guys that had 7-figure offers. Guys like Taco Dowler, Justin Lamson, Braden Zimmer, none of those guys transferred. What does that mean for their NFL prospects, though? I don't know. I just think if you're an NFL caliber guy, they're going to find you. I think that it's probably more impactful to transfer as a lineman or like a guy on the front, an offensive lineman or a tight end, a defensive lineman or a linebacker. I think it's more impactful for you to transfer at those positions because the film that you're getting is going to be the most important part of your pro opportunity. You need film against other elite players. If you just have great film against a whole bunch of guys that aren't going to the NFL, how does the NFL evaluate that? The reason it's more pertinent for the guys that play on the fronts is when a guy has the ball in his hands, you can sort of imagine what he's going to look like. Like you're Michael Wortham. This dude is faster than everybody's playing against in the FCS. But you can imagine him against a guy that's a step or two faster or an inch or two bigger. It's easier to imagine than to imagine the exchange of guys that are playing on the offensive and defensive line. So that makes it more challenging to scout. Also, though, your film is your ticket to ride when you're playing up front. Your production is part of your ticket to ride when you've got the ball in your hands. So I often think it's actually more advantageous for guys to stay at the FCS level and get a bunch of numbers. Like Eli Gilman staying at Montana, I think is smart for him. He could go play at a higher level. There's no question about it. Is he going to rush for 1,700 yards and 20 touchdowns, though, at a higher level? I don't know. I just don't think so, right? But if he goes and does if he just repeats his year from last year for the Grizz, he is going to smash the Montana all-time record for rushing yards. He'll break it by more than 1,000 yards. If he scores however many total touchdowns he scored last year, 20 plus, if he does that again, he's going to have like close to 70 touchdowns in his career. I think he's got 49 right now already. Saying you scored 70 touchdowns is going to be as impactful, or not as impactful, but it's going to be almost as impactful as the film you put together. Again, you can imagine Gilman running away from guys. Like, let's say he's just run away from FCS guys. You can imagine what that looks like if that guy's one or two steps faster. It's harder to imagine a guy like Marcus Ware or a guy like Liam Brown going against D tackles from Ohio State unless they're actually doing it. So I do think it's more advantageous for guys if they start their career at the FCS level to transfer up if you're playing on the fronts than it is for guys that are playing the skill positions. Because, again, you go get film against Big Ten or SEC corners if you're a receiver. That's great. But what if your numbers get cut in half or in a third? Like, what if you're a 1,500-yard guy as a receiver at the FCS level, and then you go and you have like 500 yards. You catch like 3 touchdowns. I don't know. Again, it's going to all come down to your pro day, and certainly better film will help. But I just think it's not as easy as saying there's less FCS guys getting drafted because all the good ones are transferring up. I actually don't think it's not that easy. I think it's because the talent at the FCS level just isn't as good. The talent at Montana State is as good as it's ever been the last 10 years. The talent for the Grizz is not as good as it's ever been. It's good. They got 3 guys that got shots in the NFL. It's good. But there was a day when you're getting 8 or 10 guys that got shots in the NFL, right? I mean, they had a streak there where they had a guy drafted pretty much every year in the mid-2000s through the early 2010s. You had all sorts of guys that went on and played like real productive NFL careers. I mean, a guy like Croy Bierman, he's like a starting defensive end in the NFL for a decade. Colt Anderson, one of the special team stalwarts that the NFL had. I mean, he's a 10-year pro. A guy like Mike Person from Montana State, he was a 10-year pro as well. I think there's some guys going right now. They're going to get there. Alex Singleton's knocking on the door of that longevity out of Montana State. Ty Okada, Patrick O'Connell, Daniel Hardy, those guys might play a long time in the NFL. But like the amount of players that are getting produced out of specific FCS schools, first of all, some of the best producers of pro talent aren't in the FCS anymore. That's impacting the overall number. That's not going to help at all with North Dakota State. South Dakota State had the run where they had a whole bunch of NFL talent. Are they going to be able to get it back up to that level? Like, are the Grizz going to be able to get it back up to the level where you have guys drafted? I said it's been a long time since a Grizz guy got drafted. That's not true. Junior Bergen got drafted last year. But there was a long time where there was a little bit of a drought. But certainly Bergen had one last year. But, again, I don't think it's as easy as saying that these guys, they're just the best players that are at NFL caliber are just transferring up to the FBS. It's not that simple. I really just think that first of all, I think we're this last year and this year are these periods that are totally in flux. The House settlement happened. Athletic departments can now revenue share. Some started doing it last year. Some are going to start doing it this upcoming academic year. That's impactful in what you can actually offer players from an NIL perspective. We've seen guys that have had an opportunity to go higher level and did. Guy like Riley Wilson for the Grizz. He went to Arizona. He got a minicamp invite. This was just announced. Again, did transferring from Montana to Arizona get Riley Wilson a minicamp invite? I just don't know. I think he's at that exact same level. If he stays in Montana and he's a first-team all-conference player and he has 8 to 10 sacks, like he was a second-team all-conference guy 2 years in a row. He had 13 total sacks, 8.5 1 year, 4.5 1 year for the Grizz. If he just replicates that, let's just say he had 6 sacks last year and he's a first- or second-team all-conference guy in the Big Sky. Compared to being like a contributing but not star player at Arizona. Did he elevate his draft profile? I just don't know. I just don't know. That said, here's all the guys from the Big Sky that did get opportunities. Undrafted free agents, Michael Briscoe from Cal Poly, he's going to the Seahawks. He's a receiver. Isaiah King, linebacker from Idaho, he's going to the Eagles. Daniel Sapkowitz, Illinois State, that's not a Big Sky school, but they played the Cats in the Natty. He's a wide receiver, he's going to the Texans. Rohan Jones, a guy that transferred from Montana State to Arkansas, he's a tight end, he's going to the Rams. Liam Brown from Montana, offensive lineman, he's going to the Bengals. Mike Wortham, wide receiver and return specialist from Montana, he's going to the Jags. Northern Arizona, Colby Katzis, a wide receiver, he's going to the Broncos. Mervyn Kenyon, who was a Sac State safety who played last year at Nevada, he's going to the Packers. Weber State offensive lineman Gavin Ortega, he's going to the Broncos. And former Weber State and New Mexico running back Devon Bankson, he's going to the Giants. Other guys that would be recognizable names to football fans around Montana. South Dakota State offensive lineman Sam Hagan, he's going to the Texans. South Dakota State wide receiver Alex Bullock, he's going to the Jaguars. Former South Dakota State quarterback Mark Gronowski, he's going to the Dolphins. And former South Dakota State safety Tucker Large, he's going to the Eagles. And finally, Josh Pitzenberger, who was a running back for Yale, who gave the Bobcats fits, he is going to the Texans. Minicamp invites out of the Big Sky include Idaho offensive lineman Nate Azzopardi. He's got minicamp invites for both the Seahawks and the Patriots. Idaho State wide receiver Michael Shulikov, he has invites from the Colts and the Raiders. Idaho State wide receiver Tyson Nunnally has an invite from the Ravens. Former Montana corner Kenzel Lawler has a rookie minicamp invite from the Chiefs. Montana State running back Julius Davis has one from the Broncos. Riley Wilson has one from the Bucks. North Dakota State corner Anthony Chimede Alfaro has one from the Vikings, as does running back Barik Keepnew. And Northern Arizona safety Zach Lewis also has a Vikings minicamp invite. Aiden Bauman, who was the quarterback for South Dakota when they played in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs in Missoula, he's got a minicamp invite to the Packers. South Dakota State running back Julius Lowridge has a minicamp invite from the Chargers, and former South Dakota State running back Angel Johnson has a minicamp invite from the Titans. Finally, from the Big Sky, UC Davis offensive lineman Eli Simonson has a minicamp invite from the Patriots. So, a lot of minicamp invites, some undrafted free agents. I think that my main thesis here is that I don't know how much transferring helps you. I don't think the reason the FCS is having less guys drafted and less guys picked up in free agency is because of transferring. I think it's just all getting way more top-heavy. Just wait till scholarship limits don't matter. That's a future reality that's coming right around the corner. Then FBS schools are going to be able to add 25 guys, 20. Right now, FBS teams have 85 scholarships. If your scholarship limit is only your roster limit and you can carry 105, that means you have 105 guys on scholarship. That's 20 more guys every school. Then what's going to happen? That's 20 more guys from the Group of 5 or FCS that's going to go to the Power 5. And again, why wouldn't you? I don't like the constant transferring thing. I think it's really bad for the game. I think it's bad for the fans and the way that people track sports and the way they follow rosters. open free agency in college sports, especially college football and basketball, is not in the spirit of the game. Amateur athletics are dead. That said, if you have an opportunity to go to a Power 4 right now, how could you not? When it comes to the full ride scholarship you're going to get, plus the full cost of attendance, plus the revenue sharing, plus any NIL money you could come up with, and then you factor in the facilities, the training, the rehabilitation, the physical therapy, the training table, all the perks that come with being a student athlete, the tutors, the academic stuff. Man, it'd be pretty hard to turn down. I hope it doesn't become a plague, but I also don't think it's as easy to say that there's less FCS guys going to the NFL because they're just getting pillaged and going to the FBS. I just don't think that's true. So Nuanez Now 129 ESPN Radio. We'll talk more NFL draft throughout the week. Michael Wortham will join us tomorrow. Grizz, who did not get drafted but is headed to the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we'll catch up with him about what he thinks about that opportunity. Want to go back to the Bobcats spring game quickly. There was a whole bunch of guys that really stood out. I gave you my thoughts on Xavier Aarons. I think he is a star in the waiting. He's a 6'2", 225-pound linebacker out of Curtis High School in Tacoma. And, I mean, he's a quick trigger guy who can really run. He's a sure tackler. I was just so impressed with him. Neil Daly and Bryce Grebe. Grebe's going to be a fourth-year junior, and Daly's going to be a fifth-year senior. Those two guys are sort of like the veteran slated starters there at linebacker. But if you got four, and you can rotate all four of them, that makes you a machine of a unit. And I honestly think that Xavier Aarons and Cole Taylor are their two best guys. Those other guys are good. But I mean, like I think Daly and Grebe's ceiling is each as like an all-conference guy, which is good. I think that Taylor's ceiling is all-American type. I mean, borderline NFL guy. And I think Aarons is right there. He's really talented. So I think they got to find a way to get him on the field. The other guy from the defense that really stood out to me was Josiah Asuega. We heard Nick John Baptiste, the defensive line coach from Montana State, talk about him last week. And, I mean, he looks the part all day long. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. He's only a redshirt freshman. They're doing a great job of getting these guys out of Western Washington. He's from South Kitsap, which is a powerhouse high school. And I thought he looked really good on the interior of the defensive front. The vast majority of the rest of my standouts that I listed are all offensive guys. I thought Carter Kurnow was the best inline blocker I saw at tight end. I think they have to find a spot for him in the offense. Rylan Schlepp was out, so he's going to have to fight his way back in to being one of the top two tight ends. Rocky Lencioni is entrenched as one of those top two, but they're going to have a hard time keeping Kurnow off the field. I was a little skeptical when I heard Jordan Reed move from quarterback to wide receiver, but he looked really good at receiver. He's a smooth route runner. He's got good hands, good body control, good athleticism. I think he's a real option as an outside receiver for MSU. Carter Dahlke, he turned heads big time. He had a couple sick plays on reverse plays. He also had a play where they threw it to him over the middle, and he was just like lightning in a bottle. He graduated early from Bozeman Gallatin, and he's been in this spring ball, and I think that's going to help him get on the field when things roll around in the fall. Pretty cool story. Jared White, we talked about him, but he's been sort of a steady guy who's had to wait his turn, but he could have an elevated opportunity as a senior running back there for MSU. Some of the young guys on defense that stood out, Vinny Souza, Billings Central product. He's a linebacker. He had an interception that was accompanied by a nice return. Blaine Downing is a guy out of Saco, Montana, who prepped at Malta. He's a really athletic guy, did a lot of stuff in high school, and I was really impressed with his high school tape. I thought he looked really good. He had a touch sack in this one. Dane Steele, who's now a sophomore, kid out of Sheridan, Wyoming. He had a sick touchdown catch on a sweet throw from Justin Lamson. Mason Deathman, who hails from Brockton, Montana, went to Floyd Lake High School, six-man football. I mean, he's 6'4", 210 pounds. He looks the part all day long. He's still figuring out what to do. But he's got a lot of length, a lot of strength, and he's a really good athlete. Grant Vegan, I thought, looked good. Quick release, good decision-making. I think he has a bright future at quarterback. Marcus Coleman was one of the corners that popped to me. Marcus Coleman and Tim Thomas were the two corners that really popped to me. And then I thought Coulter Petrie looked like he has gained some size and strength. He played a little safety, little nickel. I thought he looked good. And then I thought Luke Smith, who's a tight end out of Bozeman High, he had a couple nice catches as well. Parker Mady, though, was sort of the star of the day and the star of the spring. He also hails from Curtis High School, same as Xavier Aarons. And he is, I'm not going to even say he's lightning in a bottle. He's none of those. He's just one of those dudes that he runs. Like he's fast, but he's not that fast. But he's always open because he runs such crisp routes. He has great body control, great spatial awareness. He can stack you and then break you off. And he was a great baseball player in high school, too, so he's also a threat to throw it. The highlight of the day on Saturday was a wide receiver reverse pass by Parker Mady to Nick Seymour. It was a 50-yard touchdown for the white team. That's what earned Mady the interview, but his performance all spring is what earned him the conversation. Here's Brent Vegan on Parker Mady from Saturday at Bobcat Stadium.
Getting that trick play with Parker throwing to Nick there, what did you just think of that play?
Creative, yeah. We got some receivers I know that can do some things, and Parker, I hadn't seen that, but Parker was a really good baseball player, so natural to have a good throwing arm. He was just a really good football player in high school, and I know he's definitely a guy that's going to be able to make an impact next year. I don't know if it'll be throwing the football, but that was a pretty good play. And he's not afraid of the moment. I think that's something you see in that. You got one opportunity to do this. Guy's wide open. You better get the ball out there and get it caught.
Mady himself seems like a confident young man. It's very interesting that they have this group of guys. Mady's one of them. Dalkey's one of them. Oswego is one of them. Xavier Aarons is one of them. Carter Kernow is one of them. Guys that are, Blake Downing's one of them. Guys that are obviously talented. They're very apparently talented. They're going to be trying to break through and take playing time from guys that are older and more experienced. They look like they should be on the field. But can they find their way onto the field given the veteran talent that returns? Like, how do you find a spot for Mady when you know what you got in Taco Dowler? He's an All-American candidate. You know what you got in Dane Steele and Jabez Woods. They both were outstanding players as freshmen. Jordan Reed's a senior, so it's now or never for him. How do you get him touches in your offense? So then if you start with those guys, then where does a guy like Mady fit in? Well, they seem to think that he needs to fit in somewhere, and I can't help but agree because I think he's a really, really talented young player. His touchdown pass was the talk of it, but he also talked about how he was able to stand out this spring. Here's Parker Mady from the spring game in Bozeman.
Your touchdown pass, can you take me through kind of that play and just what you were seeing and how excited you were when you completed it?
Well, Coach Firm was our OC for the game, so he let me know the day before that we were going to put that in, so kind of excited. Got to get that arm showing, so it was really good. And then I just saw everybody go to the wheel, so I saw Nick, and I just basically threw it up for him. Hope he caught it.
You ever thrown a touchdown pass in a game?
I have in high school. One.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
You're a baseball guy, though, so did you have confidence throwing it?
Yeah. I knew I could get it there. It's just a matter if he caught it or not.
And your spring camp, everybody's been singing your praises so far. How do you feel like you just performed both throughout camp and then today?
It's been going good. Having Taco, Dane, Jabez, all of them just being my mentors, like just teaching me, talking me through everything, just letting me know like where to line up, what to do, how to see things, and then having Coach Price has also been a big part of my understanding more about the fundamentals of football. And then just having the relationship with Justin has just been really impactful.
What did you learn from watching those older guys last year?
A lot. Like how to read things, how to see things, how to read a defense. Didn't really learn that much in high school, so that's been a huge part of my development.
So the younger quarterbacks, what did you think of their operation today, specifically Grant Vegan and River Warren? How did you think they did?
They did good. A couple sack calls that could have been let go, but they're good.
Yeah, one of them I think was on when Jake sacked Grant, and you had the catch on that, right?
Yeah, I did.
So how were you feeling when that was whistled dead?
I didn't really get to see it, but I was told he just got a little fingertip touch on him, so it happens.
What's the challenge like going against one of the best defenses in the country?
It's good. It's really challenging. They the DBs that we have are just super physical. So getting to line up against them every day, it's super grateful. I'm grateful for it.
How much with the ring ceremony today? I know everybody's talking about kind of turning the page to the next season. So how have you guys and you personally kind of balance, looking, celebrating the past and then looking forward to the next season?
Just keep stacking days, just taking it day by day and just getting better, 1% better every day.
How beneficial is this scrimmage put in those situations that you'd see in a game in front of the crowd?
It's good. It really puts the pressure on us offensive guys to just make plays, and having the quarterbacks to read the defenses, just really impactful.
What do you feel like you learned today from this scrimmage?
Just how we can operate as an offense, especially for us on the white team. Just being able to practice together and putting it into like a game situation.
What do you think of the ring?
It's nice. Never seen one that big, so it's really cool.
Parker Beatty here on Nuanez Now. Take a break, come back. How about the new legacy number at Montana State? We'll also give you some Grizz talking points as well, particularly when it comes to Michael Wortham's shot with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
A pair of former Grizz football players will get shots to prove themselves in the NFL. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Montana All-American Michael Wortham signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars shortly after the NFL draft ended on Saturday afternoon. His undrafted free agent deal will bring him to Jacksonville to compete for a spot on the 53-man roster. During his one season at UM, Wortham was a star, earning All-American honors as an all-purpose player and being named a Walter Payton Award finalist. He also broke Mark Mariani's single-season program record with 2,431 all-purpose yards. Former Montana cornerback Kenzel Lawler also received a rookie minicamp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs Saturday. He'll head to a team looking to bounce back from a 6-11 season after a 6-year stretch that saw the Chiefs play in 5 Super Bowls and win 3. Lawler will need to earn a training camp invite during the minicamp this weekend. During his 2 seasons in Missoula, Lawler was a standout who led the Big Sky Conference in pass breakups his senior year with 15. Lawler had a standout pro day that included jumping 39.5 inches in the vertical and running in the 4.4 second range in the 40-yard dash to earn the shot. Helena High alum and former Montana Tech ore digger Keyshawn James Newby was drafted in the 7th round of Saturday's NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. The 6'2", 244-pounder transferred from Montana Tech to Idaho and then transferred to New Mexico when Jason Eck became the head coach for the Lobos. James Newby spent his final 3 high school seasons playing for the Bengals in the capital city.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 109 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I mentioned one of my highlights of 2025 is going to the Eagles at the Sphere. One of my highlights of ever working here at Missoula Broadcasting Company. I started in August of 2017, so coming up on 9 years now. It's been awesome. I mean, truly life-changing. My passion is as a writer. I have a passion for this too, but my passion is as a sports writer. But to be able to sort of have a news magazine style radio show is it's a great blessing. I mean, it's a challenge to put together every week, but it's also really, really fun. And I know you guys really love it, else you wouldn't be here listening. But anyways, one of the coolest things that we've done here at Missoula Broadcasting, this is sort of before the rise of Logjam and the way that they've been able to dominate and accentuate and increase the local music scene here in Missoula and around the state of Montana. But we used to help put on at least one concert not every year, but like we put on some concerts, right? And the last concert that we put on here at Missoula Broadcasting Company was Doobie Brothers and Styx, and not Styx, Steely Dan. Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan down at the Paddlehead Stadium. This is when they still were the Osprey, and it was so fun. I went in with hardly any expectations. I knew about the Doobie Brothers a little bit, did not know about Steely Dan at all. But they were awesome. I thought both rocked it. It was a super fun event. Everybody at the stations went. We all had some beers and had a great time, and certainly super fun. So I think about that every time we hear the Doobie Brothers. Appreciate you for hanging here on this Monday, rolling through a Montana football hour, basically times 2, talking all leagues NFL draft as well as Bobcat spring football. Spring football now in the books for both the Cats and the Grizz. It's been a couple weeks since the dust settled on the Grizz. It's been interesting to see because, for all of when Bobby Houck left, I thought there would be crazy amounts of roster movement for the Grizz, and that has not been the case. We're sort of just waiting, maybe, but by and large, almost everybody has stuck around. There's been some attrition, right? Like we talked about Tommy Running Rabbit, the running back from Browning. He stepped away from the game to concentrate on his academics. Talon Reynolds was from Missoula Loyola. He stepped away from the game as well. So it's sort of normal attrition, but it has not been an exodus by any means. So that's been interesting because it's actually like the Grizz have been in the news cycle so much since Houck left, but it has hardly been. It's been because of changes on the coaching staff and potential future additions in recruiting, but hardly any has been the news cycle of guys leaving or hitting the portal or searching for greener pastures or whatever. So that's been pretty impressive. On the Montana State side of things, a lot of stability, and because there is so much stability and because they have so many key returners coming back, they actually have gotten, there wasn't a crazy amount of talking points coming into spring football for the Cats because you have to replace 4 senior defensive linemen. That's a tall task, but you have so many guys that have played because you've rotated so many guys throughout the years. The offensive line lost some players. JT Reed graduates. Cedric Jefferson transfers to Utah. but they've revamped their offensive line basically annually for forever. I mean, even way before Brent Vigen was there, the Bobcats have always been able to reload on the offensive line. So you kind of take that for granted. They had some turnover on their coaching staff, but that's been sort of commonplace under Vigen, and he seems to be able to replace those guys pretty seamlessly. So the narrative is basically just settled upon, how do these guys run it back? Can they handle the pressure of running it back? What is it going to mean to them to run it back? Well, it's very clear being there on Saturday that after they got their rings, their championship rings on Saturday, they already did the parade back in January. They did the banner falling down from the rafters at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse when the Grizz were in town for basketball. Now they got their rings, and now that's it. It's over. 2025 is in the books. Now it's on to 2026, and they seem very driven and forward-facing in pursuing that goal. Certainly, I think that's going to be one of, if not the keys to their season. They're going to have a hell of a leadership core coming back. Titan Fleischman was a captain a year ago. Now he's a senior offensive lineman. He should be a captain again. Adam Jones was a captain last year as a sophomore. He's now a junior running back there for the Cats. He should be a captain again. Caden Dowler was a captain a year ago. He also was the Big Sky Conference MVP. He's also going to be wearing number 41 this year on the back end of the Bobcat defense. What makes him a worthy candidate to wear Montana State's legacy number? Brent Vigen addressed exactly that on Saturday.
Yesterday, Caden getting that 41 jersey, what went into that decision, and what does he mean to the program overall?
Yeah, sometimes you say it's harder than other years. There's definitely more candidates, but it was pretty easy to say Caden Dowler deserved that honor. I think, honoring the 41 team and that group of players through that stretch. 14 guys on the 41 team, 11 starters. That's something that, you represent a lot there. And I know it hasn't been around forever, but, I think it's very meaningful, and it's become really meaningful to our players. And while there was some candidates beyond Caden, I think all that Caden has demonstrated, Hurton High School comes back, deserves an opportunity. We give him an opportunity. Plays as a true freshman, completely unselfish, playing on special teams. Really a co-starter as a second-year guy. Gets hurt real early, is on it right away from a rehab perspective. Gets hurt, I think, 5 or 6 games into that next year. And he was on a trajectory that year too, but never wavered. And then, even last year, getting hurt in the semifinal game. Not leaving the sideline and trying to have his impact however he can, and then doing whatever he could to play in that championship game until the wheels fell off. That's what everybody else sees. I think our guys just see this no-nonsense worker that embodies everything that we want our program to be about. So, I think I just saw Nolan, who wore 41, post he was going to be the best. I don't know, that could be debatable, but from 141 to the next, and we've had some really good ones, I thought that was a heck of a compliment by Nolan.
Definitely a heck of a compliment. We sort of glossed over that, but Nolan Askelson, a former number 41 for the Bobcats, he's now coaching. He's the assistant defensive line coach alongside Nick Jean-Baptiste. Caden Dowler addressed the media for the first time since getting the legacy jersey. Here is his thoughts on wearing number 41 headed into his senior year.
Getting the 41 yesterday, just how special was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was really cool. You look at the guys that have worn it before me, and see Paul every single day in the facility, and now get to be around Nolan Askelson and the 2 guys that came back, and just really cool. And then I saw RJ today too. So all those guys you look up to growing up. When you're younger here, I was a freshman. I looked up to RJ, and then Nolan was was the leader of our defense during the first time I got hurt, but always looked up to him starting from being a kid in Billings. So, it's such a cool honor, represents so much more than myself and really than the school, so really excited.
What do you think of just being part of the history of it? Because this thing is building history, and it's sort of an homage to history. So you take the responsibility in sort of being a part of the history of this number?
Yeah, for sure. I know I'll probably have to have some talks with Paul about it, with the importance of maybe how to carry yourself a little bit differently when you do have that number on, just because it is such people know about it now, and it's a huge thing for this program in this state, and I think doing right by the people who put me in this position is number one.
Coach Vegan said there's no one on the team that personifies what the number means more than you. What does that mean to you?
I don't really know. I mean, it's cool. I think that there's really no greater honor than to have the respect of your peers and especially coaches. So, I mean, it was really cool. It's a cool thing to hear, and means that I'm doing something right, I guess.
Back-to-back Billings West guys. So what did you guys learn at Billings West that helped you sort of make your way in the Division I ranks?
Shoot. I learned that we hate losing, especially to guys over in Missoula. So, we fixed that a little bit, and that was really about it.
And then to get the ring today as well, how you kind of describe just the emotions the last couple of days for you?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, a lot of emotions, a lot of things going on, a lot of social media, a lot of text to answer. So really kind of putting a cap on the whole last year ring ceremony thing, and we get to move on to this year. I think capping off spring ball that way was awesome, and not having to kind of wait a little bit longer for the rings. It's a good way to move into this next year. So, really cool.
You and Taco having mirror image numbers next year. How excited are you for that?
I'm pretty excited. I've never really thought of that. It's maybe a cool NIL opportunity, if I'm being honest. But no, it'll be really cool. The fans seem to love it, so I'm here for it.
You got to watch the other safeties run around out there. Mason, definitely a good day for the other guys. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, Mason, Luke, all of them. Charlie, Hayden almost had a pick, so we're working hard. I mean, as an entire room, we're in there before film actually happens, an hour or two before, and we're going over practice before Coach Shep goes over practice with us. And there's a hunger within this room that, the number ones and the number twos are getting tighter. So the guys that are making plays are going to be the ones playing on Saturday, and been really impressed through spring. There's been a lot of growth for sure.
What did you see out of the defense as a whole today?
A lot better. From practice 1 to practice 15, there needs to be growth every single day, and I think that the product we put out today was probably not as high as we want to be, but we're definitely getting better. So.
You excited for Taco's wedding?
For his wedding? I'm pumped now. Yeah, it's kind of we have a trip planned for early May, so we'll get out to Scottsdale is where we're going. So I'm pumped for that for sure.
Taco Dallor getting married, his twin brother. Chime in on that as well. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio. Got a couple more pieces of news to share with you on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's ESPN MT.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Probably the best part about this concert, Steely Dan in Missoula, this was like circa 2018, I believe, was that, yeah, I knew that song, right? Like, I know like I knew a couple Steely Dan songs, but just didn't really know. It was just like a little bit ahead of my time. You know, obviously you learn about music from that generation from your parents. If you're like, I'm 30, I'm about to be 39 next week. So, you know, the music that came out in the 60s and 70s, that's usually your parents. My parents weren't really listening to that kind of music. They were more like Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Bruce Springsteen. My dad was super into outlaw country, so like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, guys like that. He was also super into like Southern rock, like the Allman Brothers and bands like that. Not really into like the yacht rock like Steely Dan is. So I go to the show and, you know, I mean, again, I know Dirty Work and some of their like way famous songs, like Reelin' in the Years, you know that one. But I don't know a lot of them. So it's like a first-time experience. I mean, they're fire, man. They're tremendous musicians. It's hilarious because they'd be the first to tell you that, like, video killed the radio star, right? Like, video killed the rock and roll star. Like, those guys were some of the ones that fell the most victim to that. Like, guys that you know, great songwriters, but maybe not the most flashy guys, maybe not the best looking guys. So they sort of fell by the wayside once the music video dominated the airwaves. Underrated, though, certainly. Super fun. Appreciate you for hanging today. If you're missing the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Opportunities continue to roll. For guys out of the Big Sky Conference, we will have Michael Wortham on the show, former Grizz. We're also efforting Kenzel Lawler, former Grizz, who's getting a shot at the Chiefs. We're also efforting Keyshawn James Newby, who's a kid from Helena, who then played college ball, first at Montana Tech, then at Idaho, then at New Mexico, and now is a 7th-round draft pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're also going to do some recruiting conversations. Sam Sermon, Missoula Sentinel, who's committed to the Grizz. He'll be in studio with us on Wednesday, so looking forward to that. And going to try to track down a couple of the other in-state guys that have committed to either the Cats or the Grizz. We're also coming to you live tomorrow from Cash One Pond, one of our favorite places to broadcast from. Cash One Pond, the premier pawn shop in western Montana. And we do a show down there once a month. And so we're sort of up against the end of the month here. But we'll get our April show in. We'll have another one down there in May as well. So looking forward to that too. We also talked plenty of spring ball today, so you can find all those interviews. Brett Vegan, Justin Lamson, Parker Mady, Dom Solano, and Caden Dowler all shared their thoughts on Montana State's spring game. So appreciate them for sharing. Our friends at Last Best Golf Company have a really cool thing going on. They are delivering tour-quality club fittings, precision builds to golfers all across western Montana. These guys have been doing this for a while now, but they have a new location, 517 South Orange Street. From beginners to pros, Last Best Golf Company uses advanced technology and proven data to help you get the most out of your game. With spring right around the corner, now's the time to book your equipment consultation and make 2026 your best season yet. At Last Best Golf Co., we don't just sell off-the-rack golf clubs. They sell pure performance, custom fit for you. Check out their new shop right there on the corner of 4th and Orange in Missoula. Michael Wortham will help lead the show tomorrow. We'll also have an update on all things track and field from across the state of Montana. We're also going to effort perhaps Aaron Wild, the star high jumper for the University of Montana. And we'll be coming to you live from the floor there at Cash One Pond. So if you're in the area, come see us out there on Roller Coaster Road. Appreciate you for hanging on this Monday. Have yourself a wonderful evening and be good. We'll talk some NBA tomorrow as well because the playoffs are really fun right now. So we'll see you then, 4 p.m. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.